Hello there, and welcome back to M. Price Can Read. As you know, I am M. Price. I can indeed read, and today we're actually just going to return to an old friend of ours, Charles Bukowski. Before I started doing these eating videos, my one Bukowski video was actually my most popular video that I had. It was like the only one that broke 200 views. So I thought I'd just, real quick before I get out of here and get on to different stuff, just thought I'd do another Bukowski book. We just check out the other volume of poetry that I had. These ones we won't be necessarily reading my favorite poems. We'll just pick up wherever I currently am in the book. But also, like last time, we have some Guinness to drink. I wonder if the last time I popped these open, some, little splash of beer got on the microphone, which is what caused it to be all weird last time. So I'm actually going to open this down here. Maybe that will, I don't know, affect something. Hopefully that picks up as something as well. Anyway, hopefully you have a Guinness as well. I guess I don't know how I should drink this to optimize the sounds the most. Do you want me to do it like this? Like this? Or like this? I don't like that one. Okay, let's get to it. We'll take out my handy dandy bookmark, which conveniently I was making a grocery list. I always make grocery lists on little pieces of notebook paper, and I just rip them off and make them into scraps for bookmarks. And I don't know if you can read this, but what a kind of a stroke of luck. But when I wrote down beer and wine for these videos, the just scrap that I happened to get for my Charles Bukowski bookmark happened to be the one that said beer and wine. And it just says wine and, wine for and beer on my little scrap. So I'm like, okay, I'll just keep that forever as my Bukowski bookmark. Anywho, this first poem here, by the way, this is the You Get So Alone at Times That It Just Makes Sense by Charles Bukowski. Just more poems that he wrote and he so graciously created for us. I'm imploding. That means I need more Guinness. God, should I just finish the first bottle? Should I just finish the first bottle before we even get reading? Oh God, what would Bukowski do? How much is... Oh hell. What would Hank do? Breather. Oh. My spine kind of cracked a bit as I did that. Oh. Yeah. Oh my god. I might not make it to the first poem. We'll crack the second one open. I'm not going to drink from it. But we'll just get it. Get it at the ready. God, this sure would be awkward if my microphone gets all wonky this time too, and I just down an entire Guinness in, 30 seconds. Anyway. 6 minutes in, we're finally getting to the poems. This one's called Party's Over, which I imagine it'll be over for me pretty soon now. After you've pulled off the tablecloth with the full plates of food and broken the windows and rung the bells of idiots, and have spoken true and terrible words and have chased the mob through the doorway, then comes the great and peaceful moment, sitting alone and pouring that quiet drink. The world is better without them. Only the plants and the animals are true comrades. I drink to them, and with them. They wait as I fill their glass. Okay, I have to drink another. Not an entire one, but just a little bit. He's all about, drinking, and I don't want Bukowski to be left alone. All right. No nonsense. Geez, more drinking. This time it references whiskey, though, so now I'm really, really shit out of luck. Faulkner loved his whiskey, and along with the writing, he didn't have time for much else. He didn't open most of his mail, just held it up to the light, and if it didn't contain a check, he trashed it. This next one is Escape. The best part was pulling down the shades, stuffing the doorbell with rags, putting the phone in the refrigerator, and going to bed for 3 or 4 days. And the next best part was nobody ever missed me. Wearing the collar. I live with a lady and 4 cats, and some days we all get along. Some days I have trouble with one of the cats, other days I have trouble with 2 of the cats, other days 3. Some days I have trouble with all 4 of the cats and the lady, 10 eyes looking at me as if I was a dog. Dog City never sleeps. A cat is a cat is a cat is a cat. She's whistling and clapping for the cats at 2 a.m. as I sit in here with my Beethoven. They're just prowling, I tell her. Beethoven rattles his bones majestically, and those damn cats don't care about any of it. And if they did, I wouldn't like them as well. Things begin to lose their natural value when they approach human endeavor. Nothing against Beethoven. He did fine for what he was, but I wouldn't want him on my rug with one leg over his head while he was licking his balls. Nor would I. Marching through Georgia. Here I'll get to a different angle. Is that nice for you? We are burning like a chicken wing left on the grill of an outdoor barbecue. We are unwanted and burning, we are burning and unwanted. We are an unwanted burning as we sizzle and fry to the bone. The coals of Dante's Inferno spit and sputter beneath us. And above the sky is an open hand, and the words of a wise man are useless. It's not a nice world it's not. Come on, try this nice burnt chicken wing poem. It's hot, it's tough, not much meat, but 'tis sadly sensible, and 1 or 2 bites ends it thus. Okay. I normally write with my right hand, but I always hold things with my left hand. I don't know if that... Maybe I'm still right-handed in the sense that I can, use my right hand to turn the page or to grasp something else, but it feels weird over here, not right. Gone, which I will soon be. It left like the ladies of old as I opened the door to the room, pillows, bed, and walls. I lost it. I lost it somewhere while walking down the street, or while lifting weights, or while watching a parade. I lost it while watching a wrestling match, or while waiting at a red light at noon on some smoggy day. I lost it while putting a coin into a parking meter. I lost it as the wild dogs slept. We could play like a drinking game, take a drink anytime anyone mentions dogs, because as we know, Dog City never sleeps. And now I have to change the camera. And we are back. This one is called I Meet the Famous Poet. This poet had long been famous, and after some decades of obscurity, I got lucky, and this poet appeared in... He appeared burping and belching before me on YouTube, and asked me to his beach apartment. I can't read this next part online. I can't... We're going to skip this poem here, but I kind of want to read it for myself, to be honest. Interesting. Quite. Oh, that's a long poem. Oh my god. Oh, it just keeps going. Pause, I guess. Yeah, Speed reading. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good thing I'm skipping this one. Yeah, whatever. Seize the day, the next poem. Foul fellow, he was always wiping his nose on his sleeve and also farting at regular intervals. He was uncombed, uncouth, unwanted. His every third word was a crass entrail, and he grinned through broken yellow teeth. His breath stinking above the wind, he continually dug into his crotch left-handed, and he always had a dirty joke at the ready, a dunce of the lowest order, a most avoided man. Until he won the state lottery. Now you should see him, always a young, laughing lady on each arm. He eats at the finest places, the waiters fighting to get him at their table. He belches and farts away the night, spilling his wine glass, picking up his steak with his fingers, while his ladies call him original and the funniest man I ever met. And what they do to him in bed is a damned shame. What we have to keep remembering, though, is that 50% of the state lottery is given to the educational system, and that's important when you realize that only 1 person in 9 can properly spell emulously. I can't properly spell emulously. I didn't know that was a word. And have I drinking too much Guinness to properly pronounce it? Maybe. Emulously. Emulously. Okay. The Shrinking Island. I'm working on it as the dawn bends towards me. I almost had it at 3:34 a.m., but it slipped away from me with the wizardry of a silverfish. Now, as the half-light moves toward me, like motherfucking death, I give up the battle, rise, move toward the bathroom, bang into a wall, give a pitiful mewking laugh, flick on the light, and begin to piss. Yes, in the proper place, and after flushing think, another night gone. Well, We gave it a bit of a roar anyhow. We wash our claws, flick off the light. Move toward the bedroom where the wife awakens enough to say, "Don't step on the cat." Which brings us back to matters real as we find the bed slip in, face to ceiling, a grounded, drunken, fat old man. A grounded, buzzed, young-ish man. Human, I mean. I don't know, I'm not wearing the hat. I suppose I can be a man now. Magic machine. I liked the old records that scratched. As the needle slid across grooves well worn, you heard the voice coming through the speaker as if there were a person inside that mahogany box. But you only listened while your parents were not there, and if you didn't wind the Victrola, it gradually slowed and stopped. It was the best in late afternoons, and the records spoke of love. Love, love, love. Some of the records had beautiful purple labels. Others were orange, green, yellow, red, blue. The Victrola had belonged to my grandfather, and he had listened to those same records. And now I was a boy, and I heard them, and nothing I could think of in my life then seemed better than listening to that Victrola when my parents weren't there. God, here's another one that I'm like, I probably shouldn't read. But that's like every other Bukowski, Bukowski poem, so whatever, follow at your own risk. And by the way, if I hadn't mentioned before, link in the description or, in some pop-out box right now to my first Bukowski video, which I highly recommend. I mean, I recommend all my stuff here. I'm obligated to recommend myself, I suppose. And I also recommend, I guess I recommend Men I Trust. I don't know. I recommend Badlands Chugs. I recommend playing Disco Elysium. I recommend reading Edgar Rice Burroughs. Yeah, I don't know. That's about it for me. I recommend eating a lot of Indian food. Indian food's my favorite, and depending upon when this comes out, there's a few Indian food videos in the making. Or one already made. So you figure that out for however you do. Those girls we followed home. In junior high, the two prettiest girls were Irene and Louise. They were sisters. Irene was a year older, a little taller, but it was difficult to choose between them. They were not only pretty, but they were astonishingly beautiful, so beautiful that the boys stayed away from them. They were terrified of Irene and Louise, who weren't aloof at all, even friendlier than most, but who seemed to dress a bit differently than the other girls. They always wore high heels, silk stockings, blouses, skirts, new outfits each day. And one afternoon my buddy Baldy and I followed them home from school. You see, we were kind of the bad guys on the grounds, so it was more or less expected. I don't like where this is going. And it was something, walking along 10 or 12 feet behind them. We didn't say anything, we just followed, watching their voluptuous swaying, the balancing of their haunches. We liked it so much that we followed them home from school every day. Then, when they'd go into their house, we'd stand outside on the sidewalk, smoking cigarettes and talking. Someday, I told Baldy, they are going to invite us inside their house, and they are going to, yeah. You really think so? Sure. No. 50 years later, I can tell you they never did. Never mind all the stories we told the guys. Yes, it's the dream that keeps you going now and then. It is the dream that keeps you going. You're correct, Charles. It's interesting because, Charles Bukowski, wildly misunderstood, But besides that, he always wrote basically about his persona, Hank Chinaski. And, you know, I always feel like I'm Robert Downey Jr. from the movie Tropic Thunder when I say this, but like never go full self-insert as a writer. You can always take, you know, an aspect here or there from your life and maybe insert it into your writing, but never do full self-insert. I did that when I was like very much starting out and very new at it, and that was not good at all. And I don't do that anymore. And sure, I have like a snippet here and a snippet there, but no, self-inserts are like the worst thing you can ever do. And I think one of the reasons why Bukowski is so kind of smudged as this bad person is because people think he's doing a full self-insert. And if you actually listen to any of his interviews in real life, you'll realize that he's a huge softy, you know, just wimp kind of a guy in all actuality. And he's just, you know, a very sad, lonely man. But, you know, what do I know, I guess. All right, we have fractional note. The flowers are burning, the rocks are melting. The door is stuck inside my head. It's 102 degrees in Hollywood, and the messenger stumbles, dropping the last message into a hole in the earth, 400 miles deep. The movies are worse than ever, and the dead books of dead men read dead. The white rats run the treadmill. The bars stink in swampland darkness, and the lonely unfulfill the lonely. As the lonely unfulfill the lonely. Sorry, I have like mild dyslexia. Which probably isn't the best for someone who like reads and writes. And now I say I have to change the camera, so we'll stop midway here. Yeah, maybe it's because I just have this old used camera for my channel. Just because I'm starting out, I don't really know what I'm doing. I can only shoot in 12-minute intervals. You know, like my camera runs out of space and automatically stops recording after that. Is that like a thing that everybody has to deal with? Or like, you know, can I just buy a better camera that, you know, lets me shoot all in one take so I don't have to constantly, you know, change and change and change? That'd be really, you know, beneficial for me. And I've like played around with the settings on there too, and I can't fix it whatsoever. So if anyone out there has any, you know, helpful tips or like, you know, better cameras to maybe work up to, you know, much appreciated. Here we were. There's no clarity. There was never meant to be clarity. The sun is diminishing, they say. Wait and see. Gravy barks like a dog. Gravy? Yeah, gravy bark. Okay, gravy barks like a dog. If I had a grandmother, my grandmother could whip your grandmother. Free fall, free dirt, shit costs money. Check the ads for sales. Now everybody is singing at once, terrible voices, coming from torn throats, hours of practice. It's almost entirely waste. Regret is mostly caused by not having done anything. The mind barks like a dog. Dog city never sleeps. Fuck the drinking, sorry. And then for the last one. Pass the gravy. It is so arranged all the way to oblivion. Next meter reading date, June 20th. I feel good. I feel good, by the way, is in the poem. I'm not telling you I feel good. I'm not, you know, not that drunk. But what I am is impressed by this poem, so I am giving it the dog ear, Dog City Never Sleeps, which I guess inherently is another call to action. Sure. Oh, let's just finish it. These next few poems will be really interesting now. Yeah, I'm like, where does the gravy come in this? Gravy barks like a dog, and then pass the gravy later on. Okay. Yeah. The following. The phone rang at 1:30 a.m. and it was a man from Denver, which I just got back from. Yay. Janeski, you got a following in Denver. Yeah, I got a magazine and I want some poems from you. Fuck you, Chinaski, I heard a voice in the background. I see you have a friend, I said. Yeah, he answered. Now I want 6 poems. Chinaski sucks. Chinaski's a prick, I heard the other voice. You, fellows been drinking? I asked. No. So what, he answered. You drink. That's true. Chinaski's an asshole. Then the editor of the magazine gave me the address and I copied it down on the back of an envelope. Send us some poems now. I'll see what I can do. Chinaski writes shit. Oh, God. You'll notice that when my body consumes basically anything, I don't know, I just fall apart. But what doesn't make me fall apart is peanut butter toast and bananas. You know, that's pretty much my general breakfast every day. And that's just the most peaceful time of the day because that's the one time where I don't feel like I'm dying. But I don't think there's enough nutrition in peanut butter toast and bananas to actually get me through life. Goodbye, I said. Goodbye, said the editor. I hung up. There are certainly any number of lonely people without much to do with their nights. A tragic meeting. I was more visible and available then, and I had this great weakness. I thought that going to bed with many women meant that a man was clever and good and superior, especially if he did it at the age of 55 to any number of bunnies, and I lifted weights, drank like mad, and did that. Most of the women were nice, and most of them looked good, and only 1 or 2 were really dumb and dull. But Jojo, I can't even categorize. Her letters were slight, repeated the same things. I like your books, would like to meet you. I wrote back and told her it would be all right. Then along came the instructions where I was to meet her at this college on this date, at this time, just after her classes. The college was up in the hills, and the day and time arrived, and with her drawings of twisting streets plus a road map, I set out. It was somewhere between the Rose Bowl and one of the largest graveyards in Southern California, and I got there early and sat in my car, nipping at the Cutty Sark and looking at the co-eds. There were so many of them, one simply couldn't have them all. Then the bell rang, and I got out of my car and walked to the front of the building. There was a long row of steps, and the students walked out of the building and down the steps, and I stood and waited, and like with airport arrivals, I had no idea which one it would be. Chinaski, somebody said, and there she was, 18, 19, neither ugly nor beautiful, of average body and features, seeming to be neither vicious, intelligent, dumb, or insane. We kissed lightly, and then I asked her if she had a car, and she said she had a car, and I said, fine, I'll drive you to it, and then you follow me. Jojo was a good follower. She followed me all the way to my beat-up court in East Hollywood. I poured her a drink, and we talked a very drab talk and kissed a bit. The kisses were neither good nor bad, nor interesting or uninteresting. Much time went by, and she drank very little, and we kissed some more, and she said, I like your books. They really do things to me. Fuck my books, I told her. I was down to my shorts, and I had her, I'm not reading that. Not reading that. Then I gave up and started drinking heavily. She mentioned a few of the other writers she liked, but she didn't like any of them the way she liked me. Yeah, I poured a new one. Is that so? I've got to get going, Jojo said. I've got a class in the morning. You can sleep here, I suggested, and get an early start. I scrambled great eggs. "No, thank you, I've got to go." And she left with several copies of my books she had never seen before. Copies I had given her much earlier in the evening. I had another drink and decided to sleep it off as an unexplainable loss. I switched off the lights and threw myself upon the bed without washing up or brushing my teeth. I looked up into the dark and thought, now here is one I will never be able to write about. She was neither good nor bad, real or unreal, kind or unkind. She was just a girl from a college somewhere between the Rose Bowl and the dumping grounds. Then I began to itch. I scratched myself. I seemed to feel things. On my face, on my belly, I inhaled, exhaled, tried to sleep, but the itching got worse. Then I felt a bite. Then several bites. Things appeared to be crawling on me. I rushed to the bathroom and switched on the light. My God, Jojo had fleas. I stepped into the shower, stood there, adjusting the water, thinking that poor dear girl. Gee, this is just a list of names. I gotta switch the camera. Alright, this will be my last section. I don't want to, keep you all night, I suppose. An ordinary poem. Since you've always wanted to know, I am going to admit that I never liked Shakespeare, Browning, the Bronte sisters, Tolstoy, baseball, Summers on the Shore, arm wrestling, hockey, Thomas Mann, Vivaldi, Winston Churchill, Dudley Moore, free verse, pizza, bowling, the Olympic Games, the Three Stooges, the Marx Brothers, Ibis, Al Jolson, Bob Hope, Frank Sinatra, Mickey Mouse, basketball, fathers, mothers, cousins, wives, shack jobs, although preferable to the former. And I don't like the Nutcracker Suite, the Academy Awards, Hawthorne, Melville, Pumpkin Pie, New Year's Eve, Christmas, Labor Day, the 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Good Friday, The Who, Bacon, Dr. Spock, Blackstone and Berlioz, Franz Liszt, Pantyhose, Lice, Fleas, Goldfish, Crabs, Spiders, War, Heroes, Space Flight, Camels, I don't trust camels, or the Bible, Updike, Erica Jong, Corso, Bartenders, Fruit Flies, Jane Fonda, Church, I don't trust Jane Fonda either, Churches, Weddings, Birthdays, Newscasts, Watchdogs, 22 Rifles, Henry Fonda, he's a bit better, and all the women who should have loved me but didn't, and the first day of spring, and the last, and the first line of this poem, and this one that you're reading now. I don't know why Bukowski specifically outlined that he doesn't trust camels. I wonder what happened to him. Yeah. Interesting. From an old dog in his cups. Ah, my friend, it's awful. Worse than that. You just get going good, one bottle down and gone, the poem simmering in your head. But halfway between 60 and 70, you pause before opening the second bottle. Sometimes don't, for after 50 years of heavy drinking, you might assume that extra bottle will set you babbling in some rest home or tender you a stroke alone in your place. The cat's chewing at your flesh in the morning fog. Enters the broken screen. One doesn't even think of the liver, and if the liver doesn't think of us, that's fine. But it does seem the more we drink, the more better worlds we go to. Death doesn't matter, but the ultimate inconvenience of near death is worse than galling. I'll finish the night off with beer. I think I already did. I think I've been neglecting my ASMR sounds. By the way, if you do want some ASMR sounds, let me link, I don't know where these actually even appear on your screen, but I'm linking to the little pop-up window boxes for the, I have a lot of actual early videos where I just either read or I just made noises with books, So check them out, I guess, if you want. Do people even check these out? This one is Let 'Em Go. Let's let the bombs go, I'm tired of waiting. I've put away my toys, folded the road maps, canceled my subscription to Time, Kissed Disneyland goodbye. I've taken the flea collars off my cats, unplugged the TV. I no longer dream of pink flamingos. I no longer check the market index. Let's let them go. Let's let them blow. I'm tired of waiting. I don't like this kind of blackmail. I don't like governments playing cutesy with my life. Either crap or getting off the pot. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of dangling. I'm tired of the fix. Let the bombs blow. You cheap, sniveling, cowardly nations, you mindless giants, do it, do it, do it. Do it. And escape to your planets and space stations. Then you can fuck it up there too. I wonder if Chancellor Palpatine writes poetry. Maybe if he did, he wouldn't have been, so unhinged. Trying to make it. New jock in from Arizona. Doesn't know this town, but his agent did get him a mount in the first race last Saturday, and the jock took the freeway in on the same day as the USC versus UCLA football game and got caught in one of two special lanes, which took him to the Rose Bowl instead of the racetrack. He was forced to drive all the way to the football game parking lot before he could turn around. By the time he got to the track, the first race was over. Another jock had won with his mount. Today out there, I noticed a program that the new jock from Arizona had a good mount in 6. Then the horse became a late scratch. Sometimes getting started in the big time is tantamount to trying to raise an erection in a tornado, and even if you do, nobody has the time to notice. Okay. The death of a splendid neighborhood. There was a place off Western Ave. When you went up a stairway to get head, and there was this big biker sitting there wearing his swastika jacket. He was there to smell you out if you were the heat, and to protect the girls if you weren't. It was just above the Philadelphia hoagie shop there in L.A., where the girls came down when things got slow and ate something else. The man who ran the sandwich shop hated the girls. He didn't like to serve them, but he was afraid not to. Then one day, I came by and the biker wasn't there, or the girls either. It hadn't been a simple bust, it had been a shootout. There were bullet holes in the door above the stairway. I went into the hoagie shop for a sandwich and a beer, and the proprietor told me things are better now. After that, I had to leave town for a couple of days, and when I got back and walked down to the hoagie shop, I saw that the plate glass window had been busted out and was covered with boards. Inside, the walls and the counter had been blackened by fire. About that same time, my girlfriend went crazy and started screwing one man after another. Almost everything good was gone. I gave my landlord a month's notice and moved in 3 weeks. And this right here is the last poem we'll end on tonight. This poem is called You Get So Alone at Times That It Just Makes Sense. Kind of like the title of this book. You get so alone at times that it just makes sense. When I was a starving writer, I used to read the major writers in the major magazines, the library, of course, and it made me feel very bad because, being a student of the word and the way, I realized that they were faking it. I could sense each false emotion, each utter pretense. It made me feel that the editors had their heads up their asses or were being politicized in the publishing in groups of power. But I just kept writing and not eating very much. Went down from 197 pounds to 137. But got very much practice typing and reading printed rejection slips. It was when I reached 137 pounds that I said, to hell with it, quit typing, and concentrated on drinking in the streets and the ladies of the streets. And at least those people didn't read Harper's, The Atlantic, or poetry, a magazine of verse. And frankly, it was a fair and refreshing 10-year layoff. Then I came back and tried it again, and find that the editors still had their heads up their asses and or etc., but I was up to 225 pounds. Rested and full of background music. Ready to give it another shot in the dark. And a shot in the dark he did. I'll just dog ear that one just because. Dog City never sleeps, but I'm out of I'm out of Guinness. Sad. All right. I think that's pretty much it for tonight. This is Friday night, of course. Me also being alone and making sense. I suppose while reading You Get Alone, You Get So Alone at Times, It Just Makes Sense by Charles Bukowski. But, yeah, I think that's it. And I think I'm actually right about almost at my perfect 12-minute marker. I'm at 9 minutes and 55 seconds. So, yeah, I guess we'll just hang out here for another minute and a half or so. Or maybe I'll just end it out early. Why not? This has been M. Price, a slightly buzzed M. Price now. And this is M. Price Can Read. I hope you will join me on my Saturday eating videos where I eat some kind of food and then rant about some kind of issue. And I also hope you join me for these sort of in-between videos of randomness and nonsense. Because I kind of prefer the randomness and nonsense. But life is life, and all we can do is live it. So, without further ado, Dog City never sleeps. I hope that you may sleep now.